like Lions head coach Dan Campbell. I am trying to really like him. Michigan sports fans, Detroit is a sports city, needs love. He's changed the culture. He's got a big heart, energy. His team's run through a wall. And then 12 minutes left, he did an onside kick, and I don't like it. And I understand he's an alpha, and it's hard for alphas to pivot, right? Like, guys don't like to ask for, like, directions in the car and stuff. They get the heels dug in. But Detroit's reckless, and reckless teams don't win the Super Bowl because the margins get very thin. And I am pro-trick play and pro-clever. But the new onside kick rule means you have to announce you're doing it before you do it, which is the equivalent of telling people what you got them for Christmas as you hand them the present. Here's a watch. You'll really like it. So, like, statistically, nobody now recovers onside kicks, and it was always a low percentage. But the key to a trick play is the trick part, is the surprise element. And now you don't have that anymore with the onside kick. Now, I don't think they were going to win this game because they're missing so many defensive starters. They can't stop anybody. They couldn't stop Green Bay. They can't stop Buffalo. I don't think they were going to win the game. But I said this last week, and I'll say it again. At some point, you've got to pivot. Detroit is no longer the hunted. They are the hunter. Things change. They're the favorite. They're more IBM than a startup. You got to move to a new way of seeing the world. And by the way, they have 13 defenders on the IR, so the bigger problem is Dan Campbell now doesn't trust his defense. And so I think it's made an aggressive coach a little hyper-aggressive because he knows they can't make stops, especially against Josh Allen. So I do understand where he's going, but there were moves to be made earlier in the game, and this was not one of them. So their season feels like it's fading fast, and they're getting desperate. And now you've got word, J-Mac just said this, David Montgomery, one of their two excellent running backs, suffering an MCL injury. He may be gone. Will that create more desperation? Here's Dan Campbell on an ill-timed onside kick that went backwards.
I thought we were going to get that ball, and it's one of Bates' best kicks that I've seen him have. That was a big kicker at the end. You know, that thing took a good jump on us, and Hollis made a heck of a play on it. And, you know, obviously now sitting here hindsight after them taking it down to the 3-yard line, yeah, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, hey, he did it because their defense and stuff like that. But yeah, there's still other plays to be made, as Colin highlighted. And it is such a low percentage play, the onside kick, that even analytically, statistically, aggressively, you're still better off than trying to do different things defensively. I mean, you have a better chance. If you ever played Madden growing up, this is one of my favorite things to do. Especially if your friend wasn't paying attention, because this is when you could really see what someone else's, what other defense or what other, play you're calling. And you would randomly put in like a punt block or a field goal block in like a regular play when it would be like 3rd and 4 or whatever. And it would just be like this like all out, like just collapse. And you do it just on a regular down. And I mean, you're better off literally doing something bizarre like that than an onside kick at this point. Seriously. So I get it. Now, I'm not going to go off here and be like, oh, we got to blame Dan Campbell. Is he still the right coach in Detroit? Like, that's too extreme. That is way too extreme of a statement. The Lions are badly injured right now. Nobody could dispute that. Badly injured. And you went up against Josh Allen, the best quarterback in the NFL, and the Buffalo Bills, and you're just not going to be able to beat those teams unless you're full strength as well. You're just not. Unless you have a few mega superheroes. And as great as Jared Goff played, Josh Allen's better. That's obvious. Again, you could be a mega Detroit Lions fan and you got a front row seat of Josh Allen's greatness. And again, that's okay. Not every that's an okay thing. You don't have to have Josh Allen as your quarterback. But when you have all of these injuries and now you just keep continuing to lose players, unfortunately that's what can happen. But I think the Detroit Lions are still dangerous. I don't know what some of these offensive injuries mean now. but we still see everything that Ben Johnson can do. Jared Goff, I mean, he was looking mobile and was making plays, making moves. I mean, I think a lot of these statistics are a little off because of the way this game unfolded and the way the score was. But Jared Goff was 38 for 59, 494 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 118 rating. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 14 catches, 193 yards, 1 touchdown. Gibbs was 31 rushing, 83 receiving, and then Montgomery, unfortunately for him. But yeah, I mean, this game felt the Lions were just not able to do what they wanted to do from the jump, and the Bills were, and that was jarring. And then the Lions then just became big player bust. And then you had a little bit of bad luck with Amon-Ra St. Brown, that fumble. I do consider that luck. Again, I use luck very differently. Luck, it was unfortunate because he made a beautiful catch, but it was kind of like away from his body, and he can't really bring it in the way that he wants to. And so now he's like, still doing enough steps, right? It was like 3 or 4 steps or whatever, and then he fumbles it. And so it was just him making an unbelievable catch and maintaining his balance and being able to kind of keep up with it, but not able to really bring it in the way that he wants to. So it wasn't like I don't even want to say it was a great play by the Bills, because I mean it was, but it was more of actually Amon-Ra St. Brown's greatness actually what led to the fumble, because most people wouldn't have even caught it. And so that was just one of those things where it was like, it's just unlucky actually that happens like that, which then changed the flow of the game a little bit. It just, again, obviously put them even more at a deficit at that point. And if you're going to start to give extra possessions to a team like the Bills and you're injured, like with the Lions, you get a score that gets away from you. And I don't think that this score was even really representative, 48-42. Again, I think it was great that the Lions never wavered and never gave up. But this game did not feel, obviously, like a 6-point game. And I think as a Lions fan, you'd have to admit that. But I don't think that the Lions are fading, or that their season is fading, or that their team is fading, or that they can't overcome some of this adversity. But it does highlight why it's so important to go all in when you have the team, when you have it, because you don't know what's going on with Ben Johnson. You have these injuries, you losing Aiden, now potentially Montgomery, right? A laundry list of defensive players. Like, that is the brutal reality of the NFL. And it's exhausting from a fan perspective. And I feel for Detroit Lions fans to my core. I do. I've been saying that they're a Super Bowl contender since last season. Going into this season, I kept saying they're a top team, and they continued to be a top team throughout this whole season. And that's why I refuse to say that they're fading, or that the season's over, or we're going to start to question, is Dan Campbell the right coach? I refuse to do that right now. This is an unfortunate series of circumstances that have unfolded for the Lions. We have to see where they get healthier as the season progresses. Obviously, short runway, but come time playoffs, ultimately, who's back, who's not, and what can they do? And if any team can overcome these types of injuries and come up with a different, more progressive, aggressive game plan to overcome said injuries, it's absolutely, positively the Detroit Lions. If they have to go for it on every single 4th down because their defense can't stop anyone, and they have to score a touchdown every single drive, better believe the Lions will find a way to do that. Right? If Dan Campbell needs to really rally these troops because they're all devastated and depleted with injuries, better believe Dan Campbell will be able to find a way to do it. So I will not count out the Detroit Lions. I will not start to kind of just throw dirt on their grave, because that is way too extreme. Has the path got steeper? Absolutely, undeniably. And you have to accept that. But is it over? Absolutely not. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions? Are you questioning Dan Campbell? Is he still the right coach? And do you think that the Lions season is fading? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.